I am here. This is X35 Earthwalker, the one true Earthwalker, the legendary internal soldier himself, and welcome back to another awesome podcast episode. But I'm going to turn this into a video. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about South of Midnight, and I'm going to give my, I guess you could say, full-on like review and like thoughts on the game now. And yeah, if I wanted to, I easily could have brought this out earlier, but you know me, I'm a true gamer. I'm playing multiple games at the same time. I don't rush games. I like to take my time, play a couple of chapters in a day or one chapter and try and find all the collectibles, stuff like that. People have spent years working hard on these types of games. I'm not about to sit there and beat the game in a day. All right, I'm going to take my time with it. I know online, social media, you got to beat as fast as possible to throw out your review, or if you're one of those stupid hate grifters, so you can just hate on the game, which some people do with Starfield, Shadow Space, and stuff like that. We don't do that over here. I'm the best reviewer and gamer in the world, so you can trust what I got to say about it and make up your own mind. I want to talk about South of Midnight. I'm going to say right out of the gates, I'm not going to keep y'all in suspense. South of Midnight is an absolutely amazing game. It's one of those must-plays, 100%. And if you're on Xbox, you have access to the Xbox Game Pass, sucker, what you doing? Go and play the game. Go and try it out. That's one of the beauties about Xbox Game Pass, the best deal in gaming. If you play it and it's not your thing, you can just uninstall and move on. Didn't cost you a dime, right? Other people, there's some games that's worth 100% worth buying, man. This is it. I spoiled this game. I got the premium edition. I played it earlier when it came out. Was it 3rd of April? Was the early release? I think, yeah. I jumped on that. I've got the bonus contents. I can see behind the scenes, the music, and all this stuff. And I can tell you straight up, passion and heart went into making this game, and they've made a banger off a game. South of Midnight is freaking amazing, and I'm so glad I played it. Like I said, I always know a special game when I see it. I knew South of Midnight was special, bro. I knew South of Midnight was special. Jumped on it. Had a blast, and I'll never forget it. If you want a unique game, and some game with some innovative properties, aspects of stuff like that, South of Midnight does that. It's its own thing. It's not a copy of anything. It's not I'm sure the devs have some inspiration as well, but their main inspiration was obviously the South, the deep South, the dirty South. You know how it is. Swampy, crocodile water looking South. Louisiana, Mississippi looking kind of swamp South. You know what I'm saying? And that was the main thing, but this is its own thing. People want to bitch and whine and say, make your own new ideas, do your own new IPs, do your own characters. People go out and do that, and then they still want to complain. You can't satisfy these miserable SOBs, bro. Just do your own thing, developers. They did their own thing, and they made an amazing game. I love the game. I got the game right now up here on my Xbox, so I can flick for some things to get me information as I want to talk about some things. But don't want this to be long. I want to get through this quickly. If you want to hear my other thoughts, I got a bit into some more of the motion stuff as well. I did a previous podcast episode where I talked about my early thoughts, of the game. But yeah, you guys are let's quickly go through some stuff. First of all, visuals. Game looks beautiful. It looks great. Is it the most detailed thing of all time? No, but they've done a great job of it. It looks great. The animation style. The animations are great, especially when you look at Hazel's dodge, that ability, traversal ability. When she's gliding in air using the weave strands, and when she's doing that dodge in combat or just running, and she goes forward and she does a spin, hey, do a barrel roll, kind of thing going on. That is beautifully animated, and most games don't have animations of that level. Now talk about the I think if I remember what it's called, stop motion. I keep forgetting the name of it. The stop motion works here. It works here. I enjoy it. Is great, and if you don't like it, that's fine. In the options, you can turn it off, but it'll still be active during the cutscenes because that's the nature of which it was made in. But see, you turn it off if you want to. The stop motion works really here with the style. I do like the graphic style as well as the design of the characters. They went for that on purpose. That's all good. The sounds, the sounds are top notch, definitely top notch. You got to give it A grade and above. If you're below an A, you're being stupid. The sound is great. The music, oh my gosh, the music. And I watched the behind the scenes content. So I saw the artist, the actual Southern artist, singing those songs. I saw them suckers with the headphones on in the booth, and then in that music video that they made specifically for the game, where you got, I don't know his name, I'm gonna call him Dirty Tom, because he purposely covered himself in that dirt and mud and stuff. He's sitting on that boat with some dirty swamp water in it on the swamp, playing on there, talk about Molly, woman and wine. He got some rum stuck in his throat. He got some Southern rum, some moonshine in his throat. He took some sips before he started singing that song. He nailed that, man. He did his dang thing. I respect the song. The music is so darn good. All three tunes are low key stuck in my head. Low key. I got my favorite one. as well, but all three are stuck in my head. And then you had like I don't know the names though. Then you got the it's in the video I'm sure, but like the lady who was singing on the Two Toe Tom song, and she was like talking about, you know, the flooding, the river's flooding, it's rising, and like, you know, that song, she did it so darn well. She actually killed that beat, that tune, and did it, man. I listened to it and I was like, I loved it in the game. I loved it. I was listening to the music video. Absolutely amazing. And then you had the iconic Mama's coming in the morning. I think it's Mama will be there in the morning. Whatever, man. That song, that tune, she sang that so hard and heavy. I said, why? Like, this is such a sad song. You can't sing this to a child, but there's a meaning behind it. And she held that note. And that man, no, the music's top tier. The music, it's a banger, bro. It's a banger. I truly enjoyed the combat. I think it worked very well. Like, they give you a certain amount of tools, you work with it, and it does. And like, if you engage with the mechanics and you do the dang thing, you jump it around, you make it work. The combat is great. We're gonna talk a bit more about the naysayers of that a bit later. And I'm just trying to feel like everything else. The story, interest. I was interested in the story through and through, from start to back. I was so into the story. Like, you know me. When I was playing like Redfall, Starfield, and all these other games, and like, I was reading everything. Dragon Age of Vel'Gard, I was reading everything. I like to learn about the lore, and the more interesting the game is to me, the more I read. I was reading. I was even paying attention to like the readables and notes that you have to collect and find. I was like, oh, so Laurent, he was found when he was a small boy covered in mud, in the blood, and the date on that letter was like 1922. So I was like, oh, okay. So according to the lore, it said that Hazel's dad, Trey, died when she was 4. According to that tombstone in the mausoleum where he was buried, he died in 2004. So I was like, okay, so that means Hazel was born in the year 2000. That means the year that Hazel was born, if Laurent's letter indicates, that means he was found in 1922. That's not when Laurent was born. If you go based on the date of that letter, Laurent would have been 78 years old. Now let's assume he grew up a bit more. Let's say he was 7. That means approximately when Hazel was born, Laurent was 85 years old. And if you know about the Rougarou, his aging has slowed down. Which in that letter it said when they did that reunion, they met the old folks. Everyone had gray hairs or was older, but Laurent still looked super young and spick and span. And I was like, yeah, I know what they say. They say black don't crack, but there's a limit to it. It's not that good. Like, you can't be freaking like in your 70s and still looking like you're 36. It's not that good. All right, we don't age that well. Like, dear gosh. So obviously something was up, you know. And then they said, but oh, that's the picture that Hazel took of, you know, her mom, Lacey, or Laurent after he cooked them that 3-course dinner. Now, I mean, she had to be old enough to operate a camera and stuff like that. And so let's assume she was, you know, 13. That means Laurent was dating Lacey at approximately, let's just say, 98 years old. This boy was dang near a century years old and still looking like he's 38. That's absolutely crazy. And I did some digging around. Apparently, the age of Hazel, when you're controlling the game, she's 19. 19 is wild. So then we're going to add 6 more onto that. That means when she encountered Laurent in that chapter, I think it's chapter 7, a barman is hard to find. That would mean that Laurent was at least maybe 105 or 104 approximately, which is crazy. My dude older than the queen, but still looking like he 40. That's crazy. So I was diving into the lore. I was reading. I was interested. I cared about the stories. I cared about the Benji story, Ichi story, Laurent's story, Ayotunde's story, learn about Mahalia and stuff. Heck, I even cared about Mrs. Pearl, man. You go to your local church, you will always find a Mrs. Pearl there, man. You better sit down and listen to when those old ladies talk, man. They go wisdom to shit. I like Bo. I spoke about this before in the early force. I don't want to go back over this, but I was interested in the characters. I like the stuff. I like the great job they did with Bonnie. I knew something was up with that lady, man. She had that powerful, cruel, like rich old white lady vibe going on, man. She like multi-millionaire. She owns the town, but she's very smart. She's planning, and she knows more than you think she knows. Like, such well done. I liked Bonnie. She cruel, but I liked Bonnie, right? The whole dang game was just put together so nicely. And the boss fights, 3 major boss fights, and oh dear gosh, All three of them are very different from each other. They were all foreshadowed, by the way. If you pay attention, that's how you know the detail of the game. They thought it through. They were all foreshadowed before they showed up. You remember that little spider thing that it was in Mrs. Pearl's home and Hazel accidentally broke? Again, that was foreshadowed, symbolizing pick it up, right? And they are so different from even how you fight each other. How you fight them. It's nothing the same. Of course, you got the main star, Two-Toe Tom. Hey, you get on that banjo, no? Two-Toe Tom. Two-Toe Tom. I loved it. No, I don't care. Giant crocodiles are in this year. And I know there's a whole Two-Toe Tom festival that's been going on in the South. They got a tradition around that. Remember, until this game, I never knew about no Two-Toe Tom and all that kind of stuff. But and I knew, oh my goodness, there was actually festivals and the folklore and stuff like that. And this game just, I was thinking about it, even when I was on my way to church. I was even thinking about, like, trying to think, like, what is, like, an actual major flaw, a major mistake the developers made with the game? I came to the conclusion I couldn't think of one. And then it came out, okay, medium level flaws. And it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, no, the game doesn't really have one. It's like small flaws, like a few bugs. Like, not even bugs, like a few little, I should say wonkiness. Like, I'll be here running and Hazel's foot really gets stuck in this little patch of dirt. It's like, oh, okay, fine, let's go a bit to the right, and I'm around it, and I'll hop, I'll jump over it. It's like, that's fine. Or at one time, it was caught on live stream, where I couldn't really climb this box properly, and I almost got caught by the mist, the fog, which never happened to me before. I've never been caught by the fog. I need to see what happens if the fog catches you. Is there actual, like, death scene, a death animation, or do you just cut to black? It's like, oh no, and you start again. I don't know. But you know, outside of that, it's just small stuff that is not game breaking. It does not ruin the experience. You just move around that. People who let stuff like that bother them are not real gamers. So I'm thinking about it, and it's like tough. And this is going to relate to the score I'm going to give later on. Now, like I say, let's go into a little bit more about it. So I've talked about it incredibly well, and I think it does everything else from graphics to the animation, the stop motion, the combat, the sounds, the music, the bosses, the story. Well, gosh, that whole scene where you're dancing with Rue, well, against your will, but you're dancing on stuff, showing that funk, showing that style, and the voice acting is crazy good. Catfish, it's been a while since I've seen a weaver such as yourself. Like, that guy had fun in the booth. That guy got in there, put on the headphones, kept smiling like a dumb giddy, bro. I'm telling you, the voice acting, Mrs. Pearl, Bo, Hazel, Bonnie, Catfish, Rue, no Lucky, no One Piece, right? All of that? Nah, bro. They did a good job. The narration and how the storyboard style make it look like a book, which it shows at the start of the game. There's this book, it shows South of Midnight, stuff like that. Crouton, the details is there. Like, when you go in the Crouton, the extra strings, that banjo, that extra instrument gets played on top of like what the levels music already is. There's details right there. And if you look at the plants, it's stuff that you actually find in the South as well. And how did developers know this? Because I was like looking into, because I like to know, because I'm a game developer myself, so I know how much work goes into these games. I watched that entire 40-minute director's cut behind the scenes, how they made South of Midnight. And I can say right now, they put so much effort and work into the game. It has to be respected. And this game is not even one of the biggest projects or anything like that. It's like it's nowhere near Starfield, right? Stuff like that. But it's for what it is. The amount of what that's gone is crazy. Like, I don't know if it's the creative director. It was something director. I don't know. It was lead director. I don't know. It was there. But he was like the first person you see talking inside the video, the director's cut. He uses sometimes just like walk around in these swamps, walk around in these forests and explore. And that was just his thing, and it kind of shows how he's very good at knowing how these swamps and stuff will behave, like what they'll look like and stuff like that. Like, you go into the waters, you see crocodiles just like in alleys, just chilling across the water, mind on business. I saw like tiger snapping turtles. Do not put your hand near the front of their mouth; you will lose it, guaranteed. And like the fauna that you see there, stuff like that. I mean, their crew, they went to the South, they visited the South, and the guy even made it his job to like 2 times take 1 week like adventures into the literal South. Now think about it. This team is supposed to be based, I think, in Montreal, Canada, right? Canada, Montreal, whichever way you want to say it, right? And they travel all the way down to the south, which is far away, and they're walking around in the swamps, they're walking in the forests, they're looking at these abandoned, like dilapidated houses and stuff like that, wonder what the purpose is there in the video. So they got the south done so well because they actually traveled to the south. That's like saying you want to write a book or do some sort of thing about Egypt. You actually took a 2-week holiday to go to Egypt, walk around the pyramids, touch the limestones, touch the sandstone, look around, smell the air, and like just learn so you could get that Egyptian vibe. They want that southern vibe, and this game is so unique because how many like proper southern and the southern folklore and monsters of the south games do we have? And this game also brings in a wonderful addition to more diversity in the games as well, because we need to see more of this too. And they've done such a bang up job. Hazel Flood has made it into my I guess top female characters. She's up there, and it's a fine addition to gaming as well. People are gonna hate the morons, the racists. Ignore them. I've blocked so many of them. I literally blocked so many of them on X and Facebook and stuff like that. We don't need fools. We want real games who are positive and give the actual feedback on the game and stuff like that. Which kind of leads me to the point what people, one of the silly arguments that people bring up, talking about, I've seen in studios with so many games over the months. They'll be like, no, I don't think, this game is not worth $70. No, this game's not worth $60. No, this game's not worth $50. I'll wait till it's on sale for $40. Like, it's like those idiots are so annoying. They're not developers. I'm a developer. They don't know how much work. Like, if you watch that 40-minute video, because I've watched long debates, like 2 hours long, and so 40 minutes is easy for me. I was doing work on the computer. And you see everything they put in there, the people recording, the instruments. Like, I saw orchestra, because I can hear orchestrated music. I know when it's there. They had like 7 dudes on this like the big violins that you sit in front of you, you hold them up in tall ways and you play it, and they was like direct to the music. You had the maestro. Like, it was like they worked to produce this music. And I've made tunes. I can just whip into GarageBand right now and whip up a beat for a rap, whip up a beat for like a talk, whatever it is. But to make fully orchestrated music, you can't just one person just go and just do that. No, you need a squad. You need a crew. You need a team. So they worked on their music. They got actual artists to do the Southern style music going on. Remember the three I mentioned at the start? And then the motion capture. Now, I've done motion capture before. That motion capture has obviously come a long way. Not a long way. Some way since this. It's obviously better. How the crew was there, they had the suits on, run through here, run up this platform, go alongside. Like, they had the settings built up so they could capture those movements and those scenes to capture the ghosts who were following Mahalia as I was getting away from those slavers were trying to find them and stuff like that. And dealing with the sensitive themes, like with slavery, with suffering. And a lot of people suffered in the South. Yes, there's a lot of cruel, very dark history. A lot of things happened there. But also some lovely things, beautiful things were birthed there as well. And it's like, they handled it so well. They put so much work into it, and none of that stuff is cheap. It's expensive stuff. If you haven't done motion capture, then shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the thing about the internet. It allows people to be idiots, hide behind waifu profile pictures and think they know everything because they did a quick Google search. No, you're an idiot. Shut up. These games took a lot of work, and then they cost a lot. It takes, and then you want to sit there and say, I don't think this game's worth $60. I don't think this game's worth $70. I don't think this game's worth $50. Sucker, your mama's not worth $50. There's nothing you've done that takes as much work and passion as like what these people have put into South of Midnight. You don't know what it takes. People put a price in the work, say, oh, I mean, you even got those crazy barbers now talking about, I charge $100 for a haircut or $100 an hour or stuff like that. Sucker, you just cut in here. That definitely not worth that much. But then when people put motion capture, studios, full orchestrated music, instruments, teams, recording, sound moves, you're traveling to the South, story writing, concept art, the artists who sit there and they draw. Have you seen the multiple different ideas they had for a bow, Mrs. Pearl? It's all in that book. So I saw the different arts, like the different ideas they had for Pearl and stuff like that. When it was creating like like what they did in Halo was like the different ideas for the design of Master Chief's arm and Mjolnir and all that kind of stuff. Like all of that, but you don't think that's worth $70. But this barber, you want to defend that barber was to charge you $100 for a haircut. That's what I'm saying. These people are stupid. It don't make no dang sense. The amount of what that goes into this game and stuff like this and things of that nature is crazy. So no, this game is worth it. This game is worth even more. I don't care. Y'all want to get mad at Nintendo and PlayStation? I already made a podcast episode talking about that, so go check that out. Right now, let's move on to the other naysayer. Oh, sorry, one more thing. By the way, yes. I have 100% completed South of Midnight. And not just 100% completed it, I also done all the achievements as well. Literally, I've done all the achievements. The last achievement I had to get was beating Hug and Molly without taking any damage. And according to the stats on Xbox, only 0.23% of people have completed that achievement. It's not an easy one. That's one thing I'll say developers need to work on, is just do a recheck over the hitboxes of Hug and Molly and Kushma when you're fighting the enemies. He does the area of effect attack tendril strike that hits into the arena. Please go over the hitboxes for that, because just fighting the bosses is easy. Like, it's not a problem. You get hit once, you get up and heal, right? You unravel. But if you're trying to go for a no hit, I think those hitboxes slightly are gonna hose some people. So developers, look over that, please. Compulsion Games. Yeah, Compulsion Games made it. Right? And apparently the hardest achievement right now is finding all the floofs. That's at 0.18%. So I'm one of the very few players who literally have 1,000 Gs out of 1,000 Gs. Like, I found it all. So I've done it. And I posted on my Xbox. I shared it with the Xbox share thing, showing my Hug and Molly achievement. So you could look to see if I've gotten fully completed or not. You can actually verify that yourselves. So I don't need to prove myself to y'all. Y'all got to do some work yourselves, right? So I've seen everything the game had to offer. I went back in, I beat a chapter, and I'll redo that chapter so I can find all the readables and the flus before moving on to the next chapter. I did not want to progress until I got everything. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. And so let's go to the next naysaying point I've heard. There were some people who said that, how should I word this? People saying that they'll really talk highly about the game sometimes. Even praise. Some people glaze the game. I mean, I gotta use my classic example. They took a paintbrush, dipped it in honey, and it started stroking master strokes with that paintbrush. I mean, glazed the honey. Like, the honey was dripping. Some people really glazed South of Midnight, and it deserves the glaze, right? But then the one negative will always be the combat was a letdown. The combat was underwhelming. The combat was bad. One guy said that he gave the game a 9.8 out of 10. He gave it a 9.8 out of 10. I think his name was like a Morsel Gamer or something like that. He did not get back to answer my question. He showed some disrespect. Had to block that guy. But he gave it a 9.8 out of 10. So he obviously freaking loves the game. But he said that the combat wasn't terrible. And I've asked these people before, like, okay, what do you mean? Like, why is the combat bad? And most of them, like always, they run from me. They never give an answer. They did the same thing with my videos on Dragon Age to Velgard, ask them to prove the points that they're making and stuff, and they just disappear. They run. They don't come back. I get it. Everyone's afraid to go against the smartest person in the world. You don't want to face me. But, like, I wasn't even, like, challenging. I just wanted to ask and learn these people's opinions, why they think this. And only one person really got back to me and said that he found that the combat was simple and repetitive. I was like, okay, so let's just deal with that, since that's the only response I'm getting from people, was that it's simple and it's repetitive. And it's like, okay, simple is like, I think people are calling it simple simply because they're comparing it to other games, wilder games, more action-packed focused games. Like, yeah, if I was to compare everything you could do in South of Midnight to everything you could do in Dragon Age the Velgard, then yes, South of Midnight is going to look absolutely basic in comparison. You know what I'm saying? Like, in Dragon Age Velgard, I can summon a literal black hole to suck in and damage my foes. I can summon and call down a flaming meteorite on my enemies, freeze them in place with flash freezes like I'm Aja from One Piece, and all these crazy blasts and beams and fires, and like no. You can't compare that. You gotta judge the combat of South of Midnight for what it is. Remember, Hazel isn't made to be some superhero. She's not Wonder Woman. Right? She's not even a soldier, she's not even like a trench soldier like Nora Vanek from Flintlock the Siege of Dawn. Right? She's not going around putting guns to guards' heads and shooting them. She's not Kratos. She's not a god. She's not a super mage. She's not a super soldier with Mjolnir armor like Master Chief. And she's not a god like Kratos. She's supposed to be a 19-year-old girl who likes to run track, likes bands, like movies, try to chase a flood because her mama got caught up in it and watched downstream, discovered that she's a weaver, takes some hooks, and then sets out. Sucker, we don't even know if she knows any martial arts or combat abilities. She's not supposed to be competing. She's not supposed to be in a death battle going up against Kratos anytime soon. Like, no. She's just got these abilities. It's related to the grand tapestry, these weaves, these strands. You know, she's gonna be using the thimbles. She's gonna be using the distaff. She's gonna be using these hooks and stuff like that, and crouton, and that's all she's got. She literally throws a stuffed toy at enemies and take over them like this is Jack from Gears 5 Horde mode. Like, you have to compare it for what it is. Because if you start comparing what a game has compared to every other game that exists, then every other game sucks by default. How big is this game? Oh, this game's big, but then you see but it's nothing compared to the size of Starfield, so it's not that big. Oh, this game looks good. No, the graphics are mid because it's nowhere near as good as Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's nowhere near as good as the Callisto Protocol. It's nowhere near as good as the best looking game ever, Hellblade 2. So we're gonna call it mid. Are we gonna call every game therefore mid? Do you see the point that I'm making? You have to judge the game for what it is, the style of what they went for. They could have gone for a complicated, like more complicated and add extra abilities, but it doesn't fit the theme of what's going on. You know, the original purpose even of the Weaver is not like primarily like combat in that sense, but it's to do with the past and healing wounds, re-weaving and, you know, stuff like that. It comes with certain rules as well. You can't even use it to really like fix yourself anything. It's supposed to be like for others and dealing with the past. That's what this stuff, you can see echoes and events and stuff from the past. Not that they can't do that. You know, so you have to be fair. Because if we're going to judge it and compare it to the other game and say, oh, therefore the combat's underwhelming and mid, then every other game becomes mid by default, because big, crazy games have done huge things. Like, no game has matched the level visually of Hellblade 2. No game has matched the scale of Starfield. You know, and then when it comes to say like sounds, audio, and animation, then you got Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Like, no game is really on that level. Like, every game's gonna be mid by that definition. So judge the game for what it is. Like I said, a lot of these reviewers, most of them are not good. They don't know how to judge games properly. You have to be fair to the game. And they say that the combat is like, it's simple as underwhelming. Oh, no. I disagree with that. I know this is going to be a bit longer because I want to talk about this. Okay, first of all, you got your strikes. You know, you press X, you're striking. Then you got your dodge, right? And then you can double jump and all of that, and that's fine. But then you can lock things like rending steps. If you dodge and then strike, you got your dodge attack. Then you got aerial rend, which is you jump in the air, come down with the ground pound, and hit them. It has good interrupt. When you get upgraded to certain points, you can even end up weaving enemies and stuff like that and stun them. Then you got amplified rend, which is where you charge up your attacks. You got a charge attack, and it's like a sniper. It fires all the way down the range. Then you've got your get off me when you're like unraveling enemy. You can release a strand blast. Other enemies come near me, and I'll just sometimes just go there. It gives me a free safe pull to unravel. Right? They got cleansing rend, which this ability is actually crazy good, which is a huge area of effect blast that knocks back enemies. Then you've got the double dodge, which really just improves mobility and adds a whole lot more to it. Then unraveling also accelerates your the cooldown of your ability, so there's more reason to unravel. You get back health, your abilities come back faster. Then you also have there you go. Then you've got what you call close the loop. So all strand blasts that you do is increased damage, but also weaves impacted enemies, which is related to your ability, which is to weave. So, and then you got a purifying rend, which is, you know, if you use it because of cleansing rend, they take more damage, bigger range, and then weaves them. If enemies weave, they take more damage from all sources. Then you can upgrade the weave as well. And you can see it in like the art right here. It shows, you can see how it like doubles up or it's thicker, extra knots. And like they stay weaved for longer. If you get a strand push to the maximum level, if you strand push, I like to call it the force push, but if you strand push multiple enemies at the same time, it's instant cooldown. It's free for you to use again. Same with the strand pull. If you get vanquishing rend and your tethered strand, you use that and the kill finishes off an enemy, it gets instant cooldown, so you can use that again. Do you see how you can get certain combos going off? Like, okay, I think I recorded a gameplay where I went into this crazy mode. I was fighting, enemies were everywhere. I think every time an enemy showed up is about, hopefully, I think I recorded that. I'm going to put that in a video. So check this combat out. And you tell me if you think the combat's underwhelming. You tell me if you think the combat is simple. You tell me if there isn't no intense moments, anything like this. Watch this clip that I'm about to show right now. Now look at that. Like, no. People were saying it's underwhelming, whatever. It's either A, they're comparing it to other games, which isn't fair, or B, they're bad at the game, or C, they're not engaging with all the mechanics. Like, I see people like talk about certain things in the game, and you watch them, and there's certain things they completely ignore. I exposed that with like Cold Carnage and Dragon Age the Velguard and other stuff. People always say these things. One person said something like the platforming wasn't all that great. Again, besides that one box incident, the platforming was perfectly fine for me. I didn't have a problem with that at all. I jumped to a wall, I grabbed the wall, I climbed, shimmy, went along, jumped over, jumped from platform to platform. It was smooth. Maybe they need to get off the PC and get on the Xbox Series X. I don't know, because when I'm on the Xbox Series X, I don't have these problems. So the platform wasn't the issue. The combat is honestly what they did with it. It works very well. I enjoy it. I'm just flowing, like following the weave strand. I'm just flowing and flowing, just playing casually. Like in the last live stream, I was doing entire fights and sometimes not even getting hit once, while just casually just lying down like I'm at the beach and just like playing. Good time. It is great. And it's great accessibility. Again, like what they did with Dragon Age the Velguard, there's some accessibility options, so it's like to kind of change the way how some things play, but not as in depth. For example, if you just want the story, you don't care for like the action as much, you can literally skip entire combat, which, you know, people shouldn't be bothered by that. How someone plays their single player game does not affect your experience of the game, right? So if they want to skip everything, they're missing out. That's them. I experienced and played everything. I didn't skip a single fight. The only time I started to skip chase sequences, those chase sequences I do like, especially the music that's coming at the end, and you hear that string coming in that I asked Itch that is play, and I think they did, again, the music, they did a great job with that, right? I only skipped that when I was going through the levels again because I wanted to find the flus, I wanted to find the readables, I didn't want to like miss anything and stuff like that. So I usually skip for that. You can even skip boss fights if they're too hard for you. You know, it's up to you. I fought every single one. I beat every single one. I got all the achievements. I beat every single one of them without taking any damage as well. And yes, again, about the whole, it's repetitive. I think this is the last point I'm going to go over. If your argument is repetitiveness, that's like almost as dumb as the argument of immersion that people talk about in games. I already talked about that. Every game is repetitive to a great or medium extent. It doesn't matter. No game is a self-building, self-expanding AI game that builds off itself and self-creates DLC and spread that. No. Every game is going to be repetitive. You're playing multiplayer shooter game, it's repetitive. Team Slayer, Team Deathmatch, whatever, right? Using combat. I've watched people play God of War Ragnarok. They use the same moves or build, and they do that every single fight. I didn't see people say that's repetitive. Right? Like no. Every game's gonna have repetitiveness of some type. And like I said, if you use all your abilities and you mix up your styles, like I'll weave this enemy, I'll throw a crouton on this enemy to take over that one, I'll do a strand pull get over here, no Scorpion, no Mortal Kombat, literally yank this enemy over here, beat this enemy down, dodge these attacks perfectly timed so I can get the explosion off of them, and then I'll like, well, they're all close together, I just do that, like, is it cleansing? Yeah, purifying rend, cleansing rend, burst, knock the wall, unraveling, cooldown abilities, weave up this one, gain back some health. Like, it's crazy. The way I play, I never once got bored of the combat. I never once thought this was repetitive. I just said this was epic. That's what I've said. Right? There are deeper, more complicated combats like in Final Fantasy 15 and stuff like that. The story so far. But no, you have to be fair. And you talk about repetitive, like every single boss was so different. Every single area in the game was so different. Like every area, every chapter, except for the chapter that like links them to, you know, it's like that'll have it's the same area leading towards like the boss or whatever. You go from like a deep, dark, dirty swamp with this pleasure boat. You go to these like mist uncovered, like, you know, crossroads. You got this world that literally looks like somebody's mind, like subspace, floating buildings and stuff in the distance, and strands float around everywhere, and the world of dreams and nightmares. Then you got a humble forest. Then you've got like a flooded location town that's been ruined. A restaurant was there. This thing mascot's been toppled over. The areas are different, so there's no repetitiveness in the areas. There's no repetitiveness in the bosses. They're all different. Then you're getting new enemies that show up all the time, including, I think it's called the Overseer, who can like resurrect other haints and shield haints to make them invulnerable and stuff like that. Like, no, it's not repetitive. The combat is not underwhelming, and I need someone to prove that. That person completely ignored me. You know, they saw my thing, they liked my comment, they didn't respond when I asked them directly. You're gonna be disrespectful? All right, I'm just gonna block you. Moved on. They did not get back to me. They did not explain anything. They couldn't prove that the combat was underwhelming. They say that because, again, there's certain buzzwords on the internet that people who can't think for themselves just regurgitate because someone says it. They do not explain what's underwhelming about it. The one guy tried, respects to him because we had a little conversation. But no, I mean, is it simpler than other fighting systems? Yes. Is it simple? No. There's still a lot you can do with it, and it's up to you to engage and use that. I'm going to end this soon because it's going to be coming up to 40 minutes. I don't want to be too long. But if you want to see more of what I think, just ask me. So now it comes down to the final score. Like I said, I spent my time just sitting there thinking and trying to think, what can I hit them with? Like, not that I'm looking for a negative, like, because I want to look at everything. I don't want to just, like, say the game is amazing, this, and that. What did they actually do with, like, a developer flaw? They just did straight up wrong. And I couldn't think of one. Still to this day, I couldn't think of one. And since I haven't think of one, I can't deduct a mark. So my final score for South of Midnight is got to be a 10 out of 10. It's got to be a 10 out of 10. It's got to be a 10 out of 10. At no point in the game did I feel bored, not like it. I was intrigued. I was reading. I was caring about the characters. I was reflecting. The events that happened in the game were conversation starters, like with coffee talk. You can understand Itchy. You can understand the hardship the parents who failed their kids did. They themselves were failed. They had a harsh bring. They had nothing choice in their lives, so they were miserable. You know, you look at things that happened to Laurent, the things that happened in people's lives, like racism and slavery that did take place. You look at the position that Barney was at and the obsession. You see from Hazel's perspective that she's still growing up. She has a lot to learn. She's got to learn to hear other people's side. Don't just judge things, not things. Things aren't always as they seem when they appear. You know, listen, use your ears more, because she's a young lady. Her emotions obviously be crazy sometimes, you know, but she's learning. And the get-ups that she has, like this, like I said, from the visuals to the work put in the game, the stop motion, the animations, the combat, the bosses, the stories, the readables, the challenges, the accessibilities, the options. I just don't see a real proper flaw that's worthy of deducting a whole mark or even half a mark. So, South of Midnight, 10 out of 10 is Xbox exclusive. A banger done by Compulsion Games. Y'all deserve to be, like, I don't know. For all of this, you should be, like, framed on the wall somewhere. You know, like, I don't know. It's amazing. I literally watched through the behind the scenes content. That 40-minute video, I saw all the work they put into it. And the passion with the team and their thoughts behind and the folklores and why they did this. So much thought went into this game. It's absolutely amazing. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I supported it for real. I made videos in the game. I did live stream the game. I made podcast episodes in the game. Well, you listen to one right now, sucker. Right? I wrote about this game. I got the premium edition of the game. You know, like, nah, bro. Nah. This game is amazing. Told another friend about it, and she's like, yo, excited. She wants to try this game out herself. So it's amazing. It's the Deep South. It's the Dirty South, but it's done so clean. Shout outs to those artists. The one who says Mama will be there in the morning. Two-Toe Tom lady. I don't remember their names. I know it says, but I don't remember their names. And I call the guy Dirty Tom. You know, the guy sitting up talk about Molly, woman in white. You know, she'll snatch you up if you're out at night. You know how it is. Someone says, hey, yo, shut up. Oh, yeah, and I keep forgetting the name of that big sea creature. Altamaha. Gosh, I'm not going to remember that name. Like, get an easier name, fish lady. Maybe then you would have found your son. Oh, too soon? I'm sorry. Like, it's just great. So, yeah, South of Midnight, 10 out of 10. Absolutely love it. Try it for yourself. The negatives I've seen online, I debunked them. I think they're absolutely wrong about that. Most people don't know how to review things. Like, heck, like I said, shout outs again to Jay Duke. He's more credible than all those bums online. And he's one of the lords of Starfield. You know, so I think it's amazing. Try it for yourself. Got any questions? Ask me, message, whatever it is. And, you know, if you got an objection or you think there's a flaw, you know, ask me. I don't mind having a conversation. I got to leave it there. I got things I need to do. Try out South of Midnight for yourselves, man. It's one of those games I do recommend. You want something new? Well, here it is new. You know, you want something different? Here's different. You want something that does its own thing? Here it is. And once you got it, don't complain. Too many people complain. Don't be one of those people. But yeah, love it. Love it. Love it. Have an awesome day, everybody, regardless of what's going on. Make sure to do the Earthwalk. And I'll see you guys around.